Hello everyone. I am getting the blue wheel of death. That's better. Hopefully, some of you will appear shortly. Here am I with my hair looking bonkers. I'll give us a couple of moments as usual. Let everyone who's going to appear. I'm going to try and work out where comments will appear, because I can never see your comments as they pop in, and it's really frustrating because then I see them all afterwards and I think, I could have interacted with you. There were lots of lovely comments, but I can't see them when I'm actually broadcasting. So I am hopeful that perhaps today I will be able to see your comments. I have a slightly disconcerting second screen on a 15-second delay with my own face talking at me on mute. But maybe it will mean I can see your comments as they pop up. Can someone write a comment? Maybe one of you has. Yes, there you are, Judy. Kirsten, you do always have bonkers hair. I'm in great company today. Judy's here, you're here. Thanks, ladies. I can see your comments, and hopefully I will continue to be able to see your comments as they pop in, which is great. So I've got some fun stuff to share with you today. I just want to start. There, the comments there. Hey Joe, nice to have you here as well. I just want to start, for those of you that have been here previously, and for those of you on the replay, same question goes for you. Have you honoured your commitments to yourself in the last week? If you have, well done. What did you get from it? What did you learn? Bear those things in mind as you go forward. If you struggled to honour your commitments to yourself in the last week, forgive yourself, but notice, what did you do instead? What resistance did you experience? What can you learn from it? There doesn't have to be any beating ourselves up, but it's a great opportunity for awareness if you haven't done the things you made a mental note of saying, I'm going to do this, or maybe a physical note. So I'll get onto the reading shortly. Before I do, I have something really hilarious to share with you. Some of you know that I keep chickens these days, 10 lovely chickens, and most days we get 10 lovely eggs. Just keeping an eye on the comments here. And today, I've brought this especially to show you. My kids make cute little egg boxes for us to collect the eggs and put them in. But check this out. One of our hens today laid an enormous egg! An insane size of an egg. So bonkers that I had to share it. You know, we're a week or two after Easter. Eggs is a little bit theme of the day. I just had to share this egg. Now, in order to justify showing you the hilarious Mahusive egg, I thought I've got to come up with a metaphor, something useful and meaningful for you all to explain and justify me sharing the whopper egg. I know, terrifying, right? So I thought, what is this a good metaphor for? So this hen, right, this hen that laid this enormous egg, can you imagine? She carried the thing around with her, she let it out, and then it was taken away. She got nothing from it. And I thought, well, how is this an analogy? There's something a bit kind of tragic as well as bizarre about this enormous egg. And here's what I thought. Many of us carry things around, heavy, big, uncomfortable things that we just need to let go of. And the reward is simply in the letting go, not in the achievement, not in the accolades, not in the kind of, well done, aren't you amazing? Although I did say, well done, aren't you amazing to the hens. I don't know which one it is. But, you know, sometimes we just have to put something down. I've been reading Desmond Tutu's book of forgiving lately. And he has an exercise to illustrate the power of forgiveness, of putting down our resentment and anger. He says, take a stone, a kind of small, comfortable palm-shaped stone, and carry it around with you for 6 hours in your non-dominant hand. So I'm left-handed, I would carry it around for 6 hours in my right hand. It's a bit like carrying a massive egg around. And notice how it obstructs you, how it gets in your way, how it holds you back. Just this simple act of carrying this small palm-shaped weight around with you. And that is another beautiful analogy for the things that we sometimes carry around that we just need to put down and let go of. Blocked emotions, long-standing resentments and frustrations. You know, is there someone you need to forgive? Do you need to forgive yourself? Is there something you need to move on from? So there is a lovely metaphor in there, but really it was just an excuse to show you the monster egg. But take the metaphor as well. It's not one of today's specific questions from the cards, but I felt compelled to share it. I knew you'd get a kick out of it. Possibly a pterodactyl, Judy, yes. And I'm sorry that your printer let you down. Circle of concern, circle of influence. Can you influence or change what's going on with your printer? If you can, there's a place to put your energy. If you can't, you've just got to wave it away. It's not going to serve you to get frustrated. So bear that in mind. So, today's questions, we have had another repeat. I'll draw your attention to it when we get there, but the rest are fresh. And it's an interesting set today, particularly given that I posted the Circle of Concern, Circle of Influence video earlier in the week. So let's come on to our goal question today. So the first card that we've drawn under the goal category is vision. Sometimes we need a reminder to lift our head out of the day-to-day pressures and the busyness of life and take a long-range view of where we're headed, what we're going after. You always have the power to transform in bigger ways than you thought possible. So enjoy creating a vision for yourself. Imagine that it's 3 years from now and you call me up on the phone and go, oh my God, my life is amazing. Everything's changed. Now, jot down what's happening in that amazing life that you have created. So if you have a pad and pen, brilliant. Make some notes for yourself. If you're just kind of listening with one ear while busying away with something else, just take a pause and picture where you would like your life to be 3 years from now, if it is as amazing as you could imagine. What would perfection look like and feel like and sound like for you if you were living that perfect life? Just take a moment, clear out all the what ifs and but I can'ts and what about this and what about that. Just take a moment and allow yourself to dance in that imagined future if everything was perfect. What would it look like? What would it feel like? What would you be hearing? If everything went the way you wanted, what would be happening 3 years from now? Just give yourself a minute to try that on. Allow yourself to dare yourself to dream it. Now, what could you work on that would make the biggest positive difference to your life? Just one thing, one area of your life perhaps, one project, one task, one change that would have a disproportionate or most impactful effect on your life. What would you focus on? What could you do? What do you think is possible for you? What if I told you that what you think is possible is nowhere near what's actually possible for you. What's actually possible is so much more than what it feels is possible from where you're sitting right now. What if you took the lid off potential? What would happen? What would your super egg be if you were going to produce it? You think you can only produce a normal sized egg. This metaphor is going to run and run. You can actually produce a double-sized pterodactyl-worthy egg. It is possible. It might take some discomfort to get there. Can you allow yourself to engage with the possibility? So have that in your mind. There's your goal space for the day. Now, here is the repeated card. This was up last week as well. Maybe we need to hear it again. It's the card called Energy. How do you show up when you are at your best? We all have this abundant, positive energy within us. Sometimes we forget to tap into it. We forget what we're capable of. We get caught up in the weeds. So take a minute to remind yourself, oh, at my best, who am I? How am I? What takes me there? How do you show up when you are at your best? When do you feel most empowered and excited? Just take a moment to remind yourself. Take a moment to travel back to the last time you felt really at your best, most empowered, most in flow. How did it feel in your body? What was happening around you? As you look out of your eyes in that moment, what are you seeing? What are you hearing? Now, hold on to that feeling. What does it mean to you to be in that flow space? What are you capable of? What can you achieve? What can you create? What gives you your best energy? And what takes your energy away? Notice what takes you out of that space. And we will revisit that point about what drains you in a moment, because one of the other cards speaks to that same space. Everyone still with me? Just going to check for any more comments. I don't think there's any more comments. Now, I'm going to bring us on to our values and beliefs. Thanks, Julie, for the emphatic yes. Still with me. Good stuff. Right. Values and beliefs. Okay, this is interesting. I found it interesting that this card came up, given that I had posted Circle of Concern, Circle of Influence earlier in the day. Because this card in the values and beliefs section is all about accountability. Our tendency to pour our energy into things we cannot change. It's pure circle of concern, circle of influence. We sometimes ignore the things we can influence, that we can take action around, and sit ourselves in this mire of feeling about things that we can't do anything about. So let's explore where our energy is going and just how far-reaching our influence is and what it enables us to accomplish. So ask yourself this: what specifically is within your control? What can you do something about? How can you channel that energy that you're experiencing? Where do you give your power away? And to whom? To who? To whom? I don't know which is grammatically correct. Where do you disempower yourself by making stuff about someone else? Because as long as it's about someone else, you're giving away the power to make a change. So where do you give that power away? Where do you lose energy in spaces that you can't make change? Now here's another really important concept, this next question. What story are you telling that disempowers you? That might be the internal chatter. I can't. I'm not worthy, I'm not good enough. It might be a story you tell about someone else. They didn't call, therefore they don't like me. They did this. He never brought me a cup of tea. He's a sod. You know, because of this equals that. It's just a story. There could be any number of reasons someone doesn't call us or doesn't make us a cup of tea or does whatever thing we feel frustrated by, give our energy to negatively. What story are you telling that disempowers you? In Eckhart Tolle's book, The Power of Now, which is a profoundly important piece of writing, he has this quote that always made me giggle. This is one of the stories we tell. The thing you did or did not do is preventing me from being at peace. And it's a narrative that runs for all of us a lot to do with our relationships. You know, my husband didn't do the washing up. Now I'm angry. It's because of that I'm frustrated. You know, my kids didn't do their homework. And, you know, so I'm frustrated with them. The thing you did or did not do is preventing me from being at peace. It's funny, really. It's just a story we tell. Our frustration and anger lives inside of us. It finds a home in other people, but it's the human condition to have these emotions, this swirl of emotions. We can notice them, notice the story we're telling that justifies them. Challenge ourselves. Where are the facts in here? He didn't do the washing up. I'm frustrated. I'm attaching my frustration to the fact that he didn't do the washing up. But it exists within me. That was just my trigger on this occasion. So notice the story that you are telling and how that disempowers you. Give yourself a little chat about what you aren't changing. If we were in person now, I'd invite you to talk about the thing that you're not changing, the thing you haven't done, maybe the thing that you feel frustrated about. And I would invite you to notice the language that you use. How does it serve you? My kids want to play Monopoly with me. I can't, I'm too busy right now. It's quite disempowering, I can't. I actually could. It's a choice I make not to. There's something about the way we use language. We do a lot of I can'ts and I shoulds. I won't is sometimes more the truth of the matter. Now, it feels uncomfortable to admit that I won't. It's not a priority for me right now. I talked about this once in a workshop, even when it's, I'm working right now, that's still a choice. It's a choice that actually has something positive within it for many of us. My kids are, tugging on my arm, come play with me, come play with me. I can't, I'm working right now, is what we say. What we mean is I won't. I'm prioritizing my work. However that makes you feel, do you notice that I can't is quite disempowering? I won't may feel harder, but it is more honest and it's much more empowering, because then I'm clear on the fact I'm making a positive choice right now to do this thing instead. And I can explain that to my little person and help them understand. I choose to prioritize work because it pays the bills. And I'll find a way to prioritize you as well, but right now that's not something I'm going to do. Empowering language. Think about how the language you use serves you. I shouldn't do X, Y, Z. Who says? If it's you, then that's a positive, proactive choice. But it's an opportunity to notice, because it might just be an echo from childhood stuff, parents' messages, teacher messages. So notice your language when you talk about what you are doing and not doing, what you are changing and not changing. It brings it into the light and you get to choose. And that's actually really empowering, even though sometimes the truths that get highlighted can feel uncomfortable. So that's our values and beliefs card. How are we doing for time? Right. I'm going to move on to our Cartesian coordinates, our brain scramblers. Interesting one this morning, given that we're talking about where we put our energy and the effect it has to put our energy into different places. Because the card that we've drawn, now I haven't been able to decide whether to call this the Pareto card or the Impact card. So have a listen to the card and then I'd welcome your thoughts after the session. Stick them in the chat. So these are our Cartesian coordinates, which use complex opposites to mangle our normal neural pathways and unlock new thinking. So they take a bit of bearing with. But this one is about noticing those big things that if we change them would have a disproportionate effect. What are the 20% of things that drive the 80% of impact? So the 20% are those big things that have a disproportionate effect. The 80% are those things that are very present in our lives, that we experience a lot, and having even though they have a sort of incremental effect on our outcomes, they're ever present. Both are worth looking at, like a jar with both rocks in it and sand in it. So here are the questions. What 20% of sources of things in your life are creating 80% of your problems or your frustrations or your unhappiness? Just think for a moment of all of the unhappiness or problems or frustrations that you experience. What 20% of things are responsible for the 80% or the lion's share of the discomfort you feel? And in the spirit of the 6 hours of holding a rock or the Mahusid egg, what can you put down? What can you let go of? So what 20% of sources are creating 80% of your problems or your unhappiness? And what 20% of sources are resulting in 80% of your desired outcomes or your happiness? What are those top few things that drive the lion's share of your happiness? And think about what that means for you. Now I'm going to ask the next two questions. As I'm reading them, I'm working out in my own mind, do these work? Again, I'd welcome your feedback. What 80% of sources are creating 20% of your unhappiness or frustration? So you might look at this as, what are the ever-present niggles? 80% of the time these things are floating around for you that create just that 20% of frustration or unhappiness, those little things that niggle at you and get at you. I think that does work, actually. It is different to the big things that maybe you need to let go of. What 80% of sources are creating 20% of your problems or unhappiness, those little things that get in the way of you feeling truly content. And the parallel question, what 80% of sources, of things in your world are creating 20% of your desired outcomes or happiness? So what are those ever-present things, those little pleasures that appear in your life on a regular basis that create just that little bit extra joy and happiness and fulfillment for you? Wow, Judy, that's a great insight. You need a cleaner. I guess that's the 80% of ever-present stuff that just nibbles at the contentment day to day. I think many of us could relate to that. So, hopefully those do work as a set of questions if that's given you that breakthrough insight. When I'm looking back and forth, it's because I have comments here and I have comments here. Some of them are on a time delay, some of them are live. I'm just trying to make sure I don't miss anything. So that's your Cartesian coordinates for the day. Let's come on to our options card. This is about playing with some of the ideas of what you could do about these things, generating some fresh thinking off the back of noticing our values and beliefs programs, the things that lie under the surface that run us, and cranking up our brain into a slightly different gear to flush out some new thinking. So the options card that we have got today is playfulness. This is a nice one. So we grow up and forget to play. That is the opener to this card. So often the things that delighted us in our younger years just get further and further away from us until we hardly recognise them anymore. We forget who we were when we didn't have the stones weighing us down. But play is a vital ingredient to creativity, which includes creative problem solving, and it's a fast path to micro moments of joy. You might want to channel the person you have the most fun with in your life when you're reflecting on the questions that I'm about to ask. So the first question is, whatever your thing is that you're bringing to work on today, how could you make it more fun? How can you make this project or task or theme or area of your life more fun? And what would really make you smile or laugh? I feel that this is an appropriate moment to share the egg. Just makes me smile every time I look at it. That poor bird. What would make you smile or laugh in this area of your life? What would your favourite playmate from the past, present, perhaps the future, tell you to do? Think of the most fun person in your world. What would they tell you to do about whatever it is you're dealing with? And what is the most crazy bonkers thing you could do in relation to this? Go wild. What is the silliest thing you could do? And the idea is not for this to become your answer. It's to notice what new possibilities it opens up for you. What is the silly, craziest thing you could do in relation to the current challenge? Now, we're on to the final card set. This is about the way forward you are going to take for yourself in relation to whatever it is that you've brought as a kind of challenge space for yourself today. And we have got card number 7 in this set, which is the self-care card. And again, I feel like I've talked about this a lot recently in workshops and in previous sessions. We often forget the importance of putting our own oxygen mask on first. We rush around looking after others, grinding ourselves down, forgetting what we really need. And as we try and be everything to everyone and juggle the multiple roles that we carry, parent, child, sibling, spouse, professional person, this is an invitation to put something down, to release your giant egg, to put down your stone, and make a moment for yourself this week. It will make you more effective and better able to serve the people that you love, that you have around you, if you have first taken care of yourself. So, the first question to reflect on, how do you feel right now? And how would you like to feel instead? Just take a moment to think about that. How do you feel right now? How would you like to feel instead? What do you really need for yourself today? Choose just one thing not to do today. What will that be? I find it really interesting that on a day when I laughed at the giant egg and thought, what metaphor can I offer for this? And it was about putting things down. We then pulled this card that invites you to choose something to not do. So let yourself off the hook. Release the egg. Drop the stone. Let it go. Allow yourself that just for today. What will you stop doing that doesn't serve you? And that's us for the day. I hope that's been useful for you. Bit of a laugh today, but some important stuff in there too. And Julie, thank you for your comment. Full of fear for the future. Let it go. Just for today at least. Put it down. Know how it's weighing on you and let yourself be light. Just for the day at least. You might find that if you can master it for the day, you can let it go for longer. It might become a new habit. You might be able to own more of your energy and point it at the things that serve you. Because worrying about things we can't influence doesn't serve us. Now, if you can channel it into action to create the future you want, to protect something, then that's a worthwhile use of your energy. But if you can't find an action, that actually serves you, you're pouring that worry into a black hole. Let it go. Lay the egg. Hope that's been useful for everyone. The replay will be on the website if anyone needs to see the replay there, thesuccesssmith.com. I will be back here at 1 o'clock next Monday. Might be the odd post in between during the week. It's been lovely to have you all here, and I'll see you very soon. Thanks everyone. Bye bye.